This is the new 2021 F-150. We're going to show you how to put the Frontier front bumper replacement on this thing. In order to get the chrome bumper off though, you have to take this plastic off first. There's some lips up underneath there and you can't pull the chrome bumper off. So first thing you do, we kind of started taking it apart already, but on the end of it there's two 7mm screws on the very end of that plastic you got to take out first. Once you take that out, you just start pulling that out right there. There's just a bunch of little clips. You pull it out, and what I do is pull one side out, and then me being right hand, it's easy to me work from left to right. But I'll come over here and I'll do the same thing over here, and there's just a bunch of little clips in there. Again, we've already kind of started this. There's just a bunch of little clips in there that pops out, and then that whole thing just comes off of there. Okay, right here you can kind of see it's a reversed angle, so sometimes you got to kind of pull it out a little bit. Just be careful with it. That's what you got to take off to get the chrome bumper off. Because you can kind of see right here where we're talking, it's got some rises, and you can't pull the chrome bumper off without doing that first. So we're going to get the chrome bumper off, and it's easier for us to show you how we did that once the chrome bumper's off. Getting the bumper off, these are the three right here that need to be taken loose. There's three on each side, so you got to get to it from up underneath, but this is why we kind of put it here so you can see it a little bit better. But anyhow, there's three bolts on each side that you got to take, or nuts you got to take off those bolts to get the bumper off, and then the bumper will slide right off. With the bumper off, the first thing you want to do is take this little guy off. You take a screwdriver and lightly put it underneath there so you don't scratch anything. If you want to use it again later, you need to take that little cover off of there. That's on the driver's side. This is where your adaptive cruise is. We've kind of already played with it a little bit, so we already undid it. But you need to unplug the adaptive cruise and push that down, and it pulls right off of there. Once you've got that unplugged, then you'll go ahead and flip this bumper over. Again, there's a few little things that we've already done. We'll show you what we've done. First thing you want to do is on the adaptive cruise, there's three little screws here. I've taken the little screws out already. But they're little star screws. There's one here, here, and up at the top. Go ahead and take those guys out. Then you can pull that adaptive cruise box out of there. And there's your adaptive cruise right there. You set it to the side. Then you come over here, and your light's going to have to come off of here. And it's just the star wrench. You're going to take 1, 2, 3 of them out, I believe. You can take that guy out, but you also need to take this guy off too. And there's a bolt right here, and then there's two inside bolts, but you're also going to have to take these two little ones and that little one out too, and that box will come off. You do that to both sides, then we'll put it in the front end replacement. Now you will also have to take your harness out of here. You may have to take this plate off of here to get to the back side, or maybe you can get it out without, but there's some little catches like that may be on the back side that may be hard to do. But if you can, then you don't have to worry about taking the plate off. But if you can't, then you got to take the plate off to get that out of there. And then we're going to put all that back in the front end replacement. Putting your lights in your bumper just like they came out of your other one. This is one that we've installed here. It's 3/4 inch bolts in the bolt bag that you use. Two right here and one at the top. This is one right here. You're just going to take it. You're going to put it in there just like that. And you have some little 1/4 inch bolts again, like provided in there. And you're just going to slip that in there, and that's how you mount that light. Okay, two on the bottom, one at the top. With this hanging down a little bit, what we did was trim. We're not going to on this one because it's a customer's vehicle, and we're going to send it back. But we trim right there, and then you trim right there. That way it's not hanging down below the front end on there. Go ahead and get that bolted in. If you've got adaptive cruise, which this is adaptive cruise you've seen, if you've got adaptive cruise, the first thing you need to do is you need to take a little cutoff wheel, which what we use on a grinder is like this, and you got to cut out these 4 little spots right there so the adaptive cruise can go through there, but only on the driver's side. Leave the passenger side alone. But you go ahead and remove that little plate right there, and then you can take your adaptive cruise box. You can just set right down there, and you drop the 3/4 inch bolts in there, and that's how you install it. But just make sure you got this box before you start cutting on that thing, because if you don't have the adaptive cruise, you do not want to remove that right there. So go ahead and bolt that up on there. This is our wire harness right here. We took out, make sure you get it right side to side, just like it came out of the chrome bumper. We went ahead and we plugged this light in right here. This is going to go to your little unit that we're going to show you in a minute how to mount down here. Same thing on the other side. Got the cruise box plugged back in. We got 3 little holes right here in the angle iron too that you can use to zip tie and hold all that up underneath there a lot better. It doesn't flop around that way. And now we can put the mounting brackets on the truck, and we're going to show you how to put the rest of it on. Putting the brackets on your truck, you can see this bottom one right here. You need to make sure though that you get it the right way. It always points to the outside of the truck. This will be the driver's side. We're on the passenger side, as you can see. But this will be the driver's side that'll point out also. You'll take the tow hooks off, and they're going to go back on. If you got tow hooks, you can reuse the tow hook bolts, and there's a little strip in there that you can take out that the bolts go in that you're going to put back in there. So just reuse the factory bolts in that if you've got tow hooks. If you don't, inside you can see these little clips right here. You're going to have to use these little clips, and then you can use our bolt in there to bolt that bracket up in there. Then you won't, if you do not have tow hooks, use those. If you do, again, just use the factory stuff on there. Once you get that on there, this little module that you took off of there needs to go back on there. You can see our little bracket right here. This is for the other side, but you can see how we bolted it on the back side of there. So it's bolts on there with the little 5/16 bolts that's provided. There's 3 of them to go on there. Then you're going to bolt it just like you see it right there. And just put your upper bracket, this is the little upper bracket that's going to go on the tab on the side of the upright on your front end. Just kind of put that on there loosely, because you're going to have to probably move it around or whatever to get that back line up with the tab on the grill guard or on the front end. This little guy right here is going to go up underneath there like that, and the light that's up underneath there's got one little tail yet that comes up underneath there that's going to bolt to right there. So you need to make sure that you get that light bolted there. So this goes on both sides. It doesn't matter. It's a left or a right. So you can use it either way. But once you get them brackets up on there like that, then you're ready to put the front end up there, and we can show you how to align it. We've got a couple guys to help us hang this thing. Just before we put the front end up there though, make sure you put your plastic that you took off first back on there, that you took off right away when you took the chrome bumper off. It's easier to get it on before the front end's up there. We've got a couple guys to help us hang it though, and then we put a floor jack under each side, and that way we can level it. And I always eyeball up with the hood line on each side, get right in the middle, and make sure it's good up and down, left to right. You can also take a tape measure, make sure it's good side to side, just by measuring to the loops, what we call the loops here, make sure they're the same side to side. And then we tighten the bottom bolts first before those upper brackets. Tighten those bottom bolts first, and then you can tighten your upper brackets. Again, just making sure your little extra clip is on the bottom of that upper bracket, as we said, that goes to the last little ear of your your fog light on there. And that would be the install for your 2021 F-150.